Hey, buddy. It's you.
Hey.
It's you.
Yeah.
Mhm. I only knew how to turn the camera around. Yes,
Hey. Hey.
I know. Hi, hi. Hey, hey. Campton Family Compound. How are you? Yeah.
Hey.
How is everybody today? Or how is Frank today? Yeah?
Hey.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Frank. You want to be on TV? Look, it's you. Yeah, it's you. Hey, Lone Star, what's going on? We're gonna get some light in here. Yeah, turn on the lights. Hmm? Careful. Yeah. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Frank, you're gonna be in big trouble. Come here. So I wanted to make sure I at least took a moment to come on and let everybody know that I'm still alive. I'm still kicking and breathing. Come on, Frank. You want to be on TV? Do you? You want to be on TV? Frank's doing okay. Getting big, giant size. Yeah, that's you.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, Frank. So I've been pretty quiet lately. I'm going through some personal matters and trying to get those quickly worked out. Should be back full time by March and get back on track with some videos. I have a new partner in crime here for my videos, Mr. Frank James. That's you. Did you say hi? Say hi. Oh, thank you, Eugene. Thank you. It's good to see you here. I've obviously been holding my lip about this election issue, problem, shenanigans, whatever we want to call them. Um, I just wanted to throw out a couple problems I've had with the whole process and maybe get some feedback from everybody. Make sure I'm not the one that's crazy looking at this the wrong way. Um, hey, Redneck Renegade, how are you, brother? Um, one of the biggest things I've had so much trouble with during this election process has been we listened to for 3, 4 months about what the Democrats were going to do. Um, it seems like they had them dead to right. I mean, hey, they're gonna stuff the ballot boxes. They're gonna, have voters that aren't registered or anything. And my biggest issue with all of that is now they're spending millions and millions of dollars to fight these election results when they could have spent, in my mind, less than they're spending now to fight the election theft by simply having private investigators, surveillance vans to surveil these counting locations where it was most probable that there would be problems at. I mean, this is our savior. This is gonna put the republic back together, and they're not even smart enough to catch these guys doing it right while they're in the middle of doing it. I mean, they couldn't have had any federal law enforcement agents pop in and catch them red-handed with unfolded ballots and ballots without signatures, ballots that only had one vote on them. I mean, this is careful, Frank. He doesn't like to have me on TV, I guess. Don't do that. And oh well, Lone Star, they wiped it off the floor. It's all nonsense when we talk about it. It's all racism when we talk about it. It's all hate, and it's a joke to see it on TV. And the sad part of the joke is how many people watch that in my area and think all of a sudden, after 50 years of life on this planet, now that the Democrats have been elected, everything is going to be miraculously fixed. It hadn't been fixed the 8 years before Donald Trump was president. It hadn't been fixed the 8 years before George Bush Jr. was president. It wasn't even fixed when Republicans were in the presidency, had control. I mean, in 2016, we had the White House, the Senate, and the House. I mean, they couldn't get anything done. And all of a sudden now that the Democrats are in, everything's supposed to be smooth sailing now. I mean, it's a pathetic joke that so many people believe in this. And oh man, I had some trouble with Streamlabs, so I had to go through YouTube. So I don't know how to send a link for that. If you've got the info on how from YouTube to send you a link, I'll most definitely do so. Exactly, oh man, Biden didn't fix shit in 47 years. Now he's just gonna fix it. And I mean, I have family members on both sides of the train tracks, both sides of the equator. I mean, every race, creed, and color you can imagine, I have relatives. And I'm not talking about relatives 1,000 miles away that I never see. I mean, relatives that I see daily, weekly, monthly. And they think this is the golden age. I mean, I cannot, for the life of me, understand what they think is going to be different now as opposed to what they went through with every other president. Hey, just in time preparedness. Nah, he pooping Chucky. I don't know if they're Lone Star. I don't know if they're gonna get who they actually want in the White House. I mean, there's no way they can convince me, at least, that my best interests are why they are there. It's a joke. And if anybody thinks that it's not, I would unfortunately have to say you're possibly delusional. I mean, I don't want to call out anybody. I don't want to cast aspersions about people that may or may not be true. It's just unreal that so many people have been brainwashed, I guess, or fooled, or hey, Will, how are you, man? I've been over on your channel checking it out. I've been a little behind on my commenting, but I'll make sure to leave a thumbs up. It's just a nightmare at this point. I'm not sure if anybody can see me. Could maybe somebody let me know if they have audio and video? Don't know if YouTube's kicked me out, sent me on my way. Don't touch it, Frank. You're gonna be in big trouble. All right. For some reason I have a black screen on my phone, but yeah, so our fearless leader wasn't smart enough to catch any of the criminals in the act of committing these crimes. And hey, I like hopium. It's some good stuff, man. It keeps me going on some days. But anybody that thinks now that the Democrats have tested their system of absolute vote winning every time, no matter what, things are going to start getting better. It's a sad, sad world we're going to be living in. The unfortunate truth of it all is these people don't care about you. They don't care about me. They only care about their children, their own well-being, and we are nothing but revenue for them. And anybody that I don't want to say nobody should have held out hope for the right thing to happen, but anybody who didn't see what was going to happen November 2nd, when everything started ramping up, I don't know how to get through to you and let you know that, in my opinion at least, and I would love to eat some crow after this, Donald Trump is done. He was done November 3rd. He was done the November 5th. What did he say? Biden was pushed over the mark he needed to beat Trump in a voting contest. It's over. It's over, and whether anybody here will admit it or not, Trump ain't got the balls enough to do what is needed to be done to save the republic. Anybody here that doesn't think Trump's main concern is Trump, his wife, and his children? I got some land in Florida to sell you. It's swampland, but hey, it'll be great. I'm telling you, fabulous. There's no sense in any of it. I hope I don't have to run into any of those limited edition Trump Survival Flashlight Coin Firewalls. Yeah, so I don't know. I've been sitting here thinking about what's the next move for this country. What's the next move for me, individual. I'm sure most people know I've attempted a bid for a U.S. House of Representatives seats for the District 14 in Michigan, and I was unfortunately unable to finance the campaign, which is pretty much what it came down to. I had plenty of well-wishers, plenty of attaboys, plenty of you did more than most people did, but I had very few boots on the ground that would go out and help me knock on doors. I had very few financial contributions, which everybody knows you get what you pay for. I mean, we're out here buying these $300-400 kits and $1,000 rifles and everything else, but we won't invest in our future. We're gonna get what we deserve. We're getting what we deserve. We're getting exactly what we paid for in all of this. And I'm sure there's a ton of other people that feel the same way. I mean, obviously nobody has the answer of what we can do to fix this. Let me rephrase that. Some may have misspoken. We all know what to do to fix the problem. So very few of us are willing to do the things. Earlier in another video I was watching, everything's a blowout kit. Everything's this special kind of flashlight, this, that. We got all that stuff covered, in my mind. And if you don't, well, you don't want to have it covered. I can't imagine for 1 second, with all the brain power we claim to have, we haven't figured this out yet. we pay for what we get. You spend $500 on a car, you're not getting a Ferrari. You spend $0 and you bum a ride with somebody, you're riding in whatever they got, clean or dirty. It doesn't, you know, it's so sad for me to see us all up in arms, all pissed off, all mad, all blaming everybody else. And not in one video I've seen have I heard us blame ourselves. I haven't heard, even for 1 minute, anybody say, you know what? Maybe I have some culpability in all of this. And as long as we're blaming them for winning, we will always be losers. I've made 10 videos about this. They're showing us how to do it. Look at what happened at the Capitol. So for what reason, I have no idea. But we were all supposed to mass on the Capitol grounds. Okay, so far I'm with it. But what's the result that we were looking for in it? Did they stop any of these people from certifying the votes or accepting the certified votes that were already? All it did is gave CNN and MSNBC and all those other news stations some crap to portray in a light they decided. Now, we watched cities across America burn because of mostly peaceful protests, and people were just fed up and needed to be heard and needed to vent. In the last 2 days on the news, all we see is treasonous, seditious, anti-American. I mean, we already know the news media is going to portray it the way they see it. And the way they see it is the way their sponsors tell them they see it. Once again, I guess I keep coming back to the question is, what's everybody going to do about it? Just make videos? Just come on here and be all pissed? I mean, my first question about all of this is still to this day, and nobody's ever given me an answer. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. It's not real busy, so I'm doing pretty good at keeping up with it. Why didn't they have surveillance in place? Why didn't they have federal officers at these locations ready to make arrests for, I don't know, treason, election theft? Does that fall under the treason act, or what? What could what could a 44-year-old man sitting in his living room in Detroit, or how could a 44-year-old man sitting on his couch in Detroit come up with, in my mind, reasonable ways to stop this horrible election theft fraud that for 2 years they talked about was going to happen, and the guy that's leading the free world wasn't that smart. I mean, it's ridiculous at this point. Exactly, Lone Star. They didn't have anything. Yeah, oh man, we are all culpable in this, and we're all going to be the ones suffering through this. And I mean, it's almost like we thrive from the suffering. We thrive as a group from being oppressed, or we feel somehow we deserve what we're getting or whatnot. I mean, I can't even make sense of it at this point. And I got to be honest. I mean, does anybody here really think in the next 4 years so much is going to change? I mean, we've gone through Democratic presidents, we've gone through treasonous, traitorous presidents on the Democratic and Republican side, if you ask me. And I got to be honest with you, in my lifetime, not so much has ever changed that I couldn't deal with the changes as they came. Absolutely, man. I mean, could you imagine if they had a shot a BLM member at the Capitol building for peacefully protesting while breaking and setting fires? I mean, it would be all over the news. That cop would have his life destroyed, and anybody that went on TV and said, "Oh, they got what they deserve," would absolutely be fired that day. The hypocrisy is astounding, at least. There's just no way that people can sit back and look at this. And I mean, I've watched plenty of these congressmen, senators speak about how inappropriate, how dangerous, how un-American it was what happened at the Capitol on the 6th. And I have to tell you that peacefully protesting is, I don't know, covered in the First Amendment. I assume, I mean, I'm not a literary scholar or a constitutional scholar, but could you imagine if Martin Luther King tried to walk across that first bridge, they beat everybody down, and imagine what they were saying on the news about these horrible people breaking the law and trying to overthrow the government had just went away. I mean, in my opinion, at this point, that's basically what is happening. They've shamed us with false accusations. And in order for us not to make what they're saying true, we just go away. We just be quiet. There wasn't anybody at the Capitol building on the 7th. Today's the 8th, and I didn't see anybody at the Capitol building. I mean, what do most people hope to achieve in 8 hours? I look at the Antifa riots. I mean, they were 30 days, 60 days. I mean, it makes me question, do we really want change, or do we just want to complain about change? Do we just want to run our mouths and take what's given to us? You might be onto something there, Lone Star. MSM can make just about anything look bad. And oh man, you're right. I've been at gatherings where thousands committed to show and 10 showed. Exactly. I mean, all we ever do on our videos, or the videos I watch and even the videos I make, is this is what we need to do. This isn't a super duper brand new idea of how things should be done and a new experiment in freedom or anything. We've got roadmaps that have been in place for thousands of years in some instances, and at least in America have been in existence for hundreds of years. I mean, everybody wants to be George Washington until you got to get in the boat and go across the river. You know, it's easy to get out here and make a video about what's wrong. What I'm failing to see lately in videos I've been watching is what can be done to make things right. And as long as we're jaw jacking about what's wrong, which has been wrong since I've been alive, I'm sure it has been wrong since most of you have been alive, or all of you have been alive. But if we're walking around in a circle talking about what we don't like, that's what we're destined to do. We're destined to walk that circle and talk about what we don't like. I mean, I hate to keep going back to Antifa and Blum or whatever they are. They burnt fucking cities down to get their point across. And you know what the people that they were trying to get those points across to said? Oh, we understand. We're listening. You deserve to do this. You need to let this frustration and aggravation out. I mean, it's retarded. So Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, they can go on there and talk shit about people burning people's houses and buildings down to the ground as righteous and long overdue. But just in a semblance of non-democratic protesters turns not only the Democrats into babbling heads about how bad these people are and how they're trying to destroy this republic, it turns Republicans into, well, they shouldn't have did that. Well, maybe they went too far. Well, that's not right. But never heard one person say, it's not right, but I fucking understand it. They're frustrated. You know, it's bizarro world, I guess. I mean, I don't even know where to go from here with it. I mean, I've preached till I was blue in the face. I've attempted to run for political office. Maybe I set my sights too high, but with all the videos I watched on YouTube and all the people professing their commitment to really make change, I realized it's all just talk. And I'm not talking about the 2% of people that put their money where their mouth was, offered their time and services to make a change, to help somebody make a change. I'm talking about all the people that said good luck and left it at that. If you're waiting on luck to save you, this is not going to be your lucky day. your lucky month, or a lucky year for you. I guarantee it. Careful. I think you might be onto something there, ooh man. There'll be a lot of gun confiscations, and they'll make it real easy. They'll give you the address to bring it to. Well, you're right, Lone Star, but somehow the Democrats have convinced us doing the things that need to be done are immoral, are wrong, are prejudice, are selfish. And as long as they have the majority of us convinced of that, that's what we'll be doing, talking about how we went too far by saying something. We went too far. We broke a window at a building, and that's just un-American. I mean, it's like the story in the Bible or from the Bible about the greatest trick the devil ever played on man is convincing people that he didn't exist. I mean, I just cannot get my brain wrapped around the difference between the Democrat vigor and the Republican lack of vigor. I mean, even beyond that, Lone Star, put our candidates in office. We know what it takes. That's what they do. Fundraise. Bam. You buy a seat at the table, and then your ideas and concerns are heard. If you're waiting on magic, well, you can see we're right where we're at, waiting on magic to happen. It's not rocket scientists. Nobody needs a college degree for any of this stuff. Nobody needs 10 years of doctoral education. I mean, it is what it is. These are the fees to get on the ballots. These are the fees to have what we want. At least a voice at the table. I mean, I've watched in the last 5 years Democrats absolutely wipe the fucking floor with Republicans, Independents, Green Party, whoever. And it's not because they're smarter than us. It's not because of magic. It's because they've realized it doesn't matter what you say. It matters who you pay. It matters what fees you pay. It matters what paper you fill out and then pay the fee for. I mean, even on the smallest levels in counties, I mean, look at Zombie Farmer going through a nightmare trying to get elected in a small race. I mean, how can we be the smartest party and we still don't have this shit figured out, as well as the dumbest of the parties, the Democrats? So they're the dumbest, but somehow they figured all this out and have implemented it. But we being the smartest, the hardest working, the most patriotic, the most, we ain't figured out none of it yet. We're just trying to be nice, trying not to make nobody mad. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, not even any charges filed. Exactly, Brett. I mean, it's it's at their discretion. I mean, I could no longer resist coming on YouTube and getting this stuff off my chest. After watching the last 2 days of the media say the most egregious things about what happened on the 6th, if we're worried about living up to a standard that the people we're fighting against are not willing to live up to, we're dead. Do you think we won against the British because we lined up in a row and volley fired back at them and then waited for them to reload and volley fired back at us? We won by doing what they didn't expect us to do. And as long as they can see us coming and know what we're going to do and know we're going to sit there and be like, well, you guys cheated. You know you cheated. Well, prove it. Well, we knew you were going to cheat and did nothing to catch you in the cheat. We didn't, like I said, we didn't have a surveillance thing. You're telling me they can arrest some guy down the street for selling nickel bags of weed, but they can't catch somebody illegally scanning 18,000 votes? They can't catch nobody doing that. They can't say, hey, freeze, put your hands in the air. We got you on audio surveillance, thermal imaging through the wall of the building. I mean, this technology we can buy ourselves from Amazon. So you're telling me the leader of the free world doesn't have access to it, doesn't know how to get a hold of any of this stuff? I mean, it's almost, in my mind, a deception by the people we're supporting more than anything. And everybody wants to scream Republican. Everybody wants to scream Democrat. Whatever happened to just being an independent thinker? Whatever just happened to knowing what's right and wrong? As long as we keep supporting one or the other parties, we're contributing to the two-party system that is not a two-party system. It's a one-party system. It's a system created to keep the average man a slave in this country without him even realizing it. And it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, Mexican, Chinese, half black, half white, like some people. Doesn't matter. We're all being enslaved by our own willingness to comply, even when we know what we're complying with is detrimental to our health, our safety, our well-being, our financial stability. I mean, how are we not going to get what we deserve when we just keep putting our hand out asking for more? I mean, it's insane. Rogers Rangers. Hey, True Seeker. DetroitPreppin, I disagree with you, man. 1% of the richest get what they want. I mean, that if we're already beat, then why are we even here talking about it? Why are we even wasting our time watching these videos, making these videos? It's untrue in my mind that we have so little power. I feel we just have so little coordination. I feel we have accepted the fact that we have to only be responsible for ourselves and our wives and our children, and we can't worry about the guy down the street and the person next state over. We have to make sure we got our shit ready. And in that, what we're doing is we're weakening our community by locking ourselves down. I hear a lot of people, talk about what they're doing for their family. Oh, we're stocking up rice to the ceiling. We got 7,000 gallons of water buried in the backyard. And this, that, or whatever. Very rarely do I see a video of somebody saying, "Hey, well, you know what? We just started a mutual assistance group in my neighborhood. I got three neighbors on this side of me and two down there, and I'm trying to show them maybe not how to start a revolution, but hey, how to feed yourself if the grocery store is empty." I mean, I can't tell you the conversations I had with people in March and tried to explain to them this is a chance for you to see how bad it can really get. And I don't know about everybody, but I'll tell you in Michigan, when that governor locked us down for the first time and gave us a 3-day window to prepare and get ready, there was not one grocery store that had one piece of food on the shelf in the cooler. And when I say not one, I mean, I'm talking about freaking nothing. Not no condiments, no mustard, no noodles, no cans of sardines. I mean, there was nothing. And when it all returned, that was their affirmation that I see, it's just a couple weeks. Nope. It'll never be like that forever. And they wouldn't even accept the fact that they had just witnessed what could happen to them and were still not willing to prepare for it or do anything that would help them negate hunger, thirst, cold temperatures. It's hey, truth seeker. Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine even in the city of Detroit, truth seeker, that Trump got at least half the votes in the city of Detroit. I mean, it's to me, it was absolutely amazing how many people I spoke to that said they were going to vote for Trump. Now, were they lying to me because they thought I wanted to hear them say they? No, I don't. The people I have spoken to, for the most part, were gleeful about expressing the fact they were going to vote for Joe Biden. Um, these people, even even though they knew Joe Biden wasn't going to do anything for them, he hadn't done anything for them. They had been so programmed by whatever news outlet, source, family, friends, that it didn't matter if Joe Biden wasn't going to do anything for them. They had just been instructed to make sure they didn't vote for Trump. They weren't voting for Biden because they agreed with his policy on A, B, or C. If you asked them what Joe Biden's policies were, there would be a look on their face like, what does that matter? And I mean, it was almost as if they realized it doesn't matter because none of his policies are going to benefit them. And they were okay with that because somehow they had been convinced that one crook was better than the other crook. Hey, morning light. Hey, Jay Clifton. Fluid poor patriot. Yeah, we got the Constitution behind us, but that's a piece of paper. We we don't have the convictions of the words written on the piece of paper. It's Lone Star, I don't have exact numbers as to what the election results were in Detroit and the surrounding areas, but um, how could we ever know? How could we ever know? It's been recounted, reshifted, added, blocked. No one can see. It's I don't even know what the reported numbers were. I bet your county did, Truth Seeker. Jake Clifton, you're right. As soon as we organize, we show up on the bad guys' radar. Yeah, you might be right, Truth Seeker. We probably have been on there a while. Truth Seeker, I definitely know people that voted for Biden, but there were not as many as I thought. Yeah. Well, I guess in closing here, I mean, there's no way to not accept the fact that Trump is surely not the man he was made out to be. Trump is not Thomas Jefferson. He is not of the character or conviction of George Washington. Um, he's he's a man that has his best interests in mind as well as having America's best interests in mind. And I think no matter what, he's going to be okay. He's not worried about his electric getting shut off. He's probably not worried about being unable to pay his car payment or anything like that. And I don't want to place the blame outside of Trump because the buck stops with him, but I blame us. I mean, how are we supporting him? How are we helping him drain this swamp? How are we helping him get these elected officials that have been serving 37 years to move out the way? I mean, Donald Trump had the presidency, the House, and the Senate. Do you know they were unable to get anything done? I mean, you could not have handed that man a better spread. And now what we're talking about is the fact that Joe Biden has that same setup and he's going to get some shit done. So, where do we go from here? You know, honestly, I feel like most people will probably put their heads back into the sand and try to get past this 4 years, do their tough talking, do their blaming everybody but themselves for the situation they find themselves in, and we'll see what happens in 4 years. We'll see what they decide. They decide to let us have or not have, because we're sure not going out there taking it. We're sure not willing to risk our homes, our families, our livelihoods. We're not willing to risk that stuff. And we're not even able to be supported by those around us of like mind so that we can leave our jobs and pursue these things that need to be pursued. And until we, me, you, everybody, us, are willing to sacrifice what we have and have struggled so long and so hard to obtain, we're gonna be right where we're at. We're on cruise control, and I hate to say that no amount of prepping and water and bullets and guns and this and that in your basement is gonna make any bit of difference if you're not willing to fight when there aren't bullets flying. And you know, by all means, take what I say with a grain of salt. What do I know? But as I've said before, I know two people that would help me out if I really needed help. I know zero people that would answer my phone call and show up at my house ready to defend me against the cops trying to illegally take my stuff, against 10 people from 2 blocks over that decided they were coming to burn me out and get me the hell out of town. I don't know one person that would show up at my house for that battle. So how are we going to take on a government? How are we going to take on the 2 idiots that live down the street if we won't even defend ourselves? We won't even defend others because we're too busy trying to figure out how many more bullets we need for this magical war we're not even badass enough to start. You know, every video is, oh yeah, if they come to my door, they're gonna have a fucking problem. But you know what? They ain't gonna come to your door. They're gonna burn down the neighborhood around where you live. And you're gonna be sitting there in a pile of ashes with all your bullets and your smoked out food, wondering what the fuck are I gonna do next? I sure wish I had more than just me, my buddy down the street, and my 2 cousins to try to rebuild nothing, because that's what we'll be left with, nothing. Hey, Ron, how are you, brother? Lone Star, you might be right. I definitely am not against moving to Texas. Well, privateer, that's what I'm saying. If you're waiting for it to be 10 miles away from your house, it's already too late. I mean, what are we gonna have in 100 square miles? Every square mile of that burning except the 10 around your house and the 10 around Uman's house and the I mean that's ridiculous to even believe or have as a plan. If it's 10 miles from your door, you're already dead. You just don't know it yet. I mean, I think somehow we need to reevaluate and maybe reformulate our course of action. I think at this point, most of us, and I'll just throw myself in there for conversation's sake, have watched too many movies, too many YouTube videos, too many I'm a badass, even though I've never done anything badass in my life. I mean, yeah, I get it. I got food, I got guns, I got this, I got that, whatever. I don't think with any of that shit, if the world falls apart and the lights go out, I'm gonna make it. I don't care if I pack up, jump in the car, and drive to my property up north where I don't have a neighbor for 10 miles around me. How am I gonna make it? I can't carry enough food. I can't grow enough food. Starting from scratch all by myself, 7 hours a day, out there working the field, trying to take care of my family at the same time. I mean, it's a joke if anybody thinks that's the way it'll really be, and that bugging out is even an option. I mean, we're talking 1% survival. Everybody's at the now. I'd be surprised if 1% of us, the people, survive if they turn up the heat on us. We don't have any community groups. We don't even agree in our videos half the time. I mean, not that we need to agree about everything, but we surely need to be working towards something besides our own pantries, besides our own bullet count, besides our own badass custom tricked out AR 16. I mean, I don't know. I have to be honest with my subscribers and everybody here in the chat. I've been so disappointed in all of us lately that it's kind of hard to make videos. I don't want to come on here and offend people. I don't want to come on here and, you know, badmouth people for their, in my opinion, and it is only in my opinion, lack of action, lack of conviction. Um, I mean, it all sounds great. I love everybody's videos. Everybody's amped up and explaining, and it all makes perfect sense because it is all the truth they're speaking. But how many times do I have to see the "it should hit the fan Tiawaki now" video? How many times do I have to see the "this is what's going to happen" again and again and again? Somebody put a video out about, hey, this is what we're going to do next. I mean, I've had so many attempts at trying to do stuff. I bought a property up north. It's been in my about page since I started my channel, trying to talk to people. Hey, the start is in Sutton. Let's have our own city. Yeah, you don't got to live there. I know you got a home. I know you got a job, a mortgage, a wife, kids, this, that. But you know what? Let's invest in that as a last resort. Let us then start our own police department and buy all the cool military surplus shit. Then we have a chance because we are a community. While we're in our house, our bunker, our bug out location, this and that by ourselves, hiding from everyone, we're as good as dead. And if you're not as good as dead, you'll want to be dead by the time you realize how lonely it is being alone. That's it, Jay Cliff. If they come to your door, it's already too late. And yes, privateer, they are already in our homes. Hey, Hawaii Volcano Squad, what's going on, brother? Privateer, I always say yeah to the UP. It's God's country. Rob Stryker, that's funny that you would say that because in my mind, how could we not know what to do next? Looks like my sidekick here is getting a little tired. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what anybody else's resources are for prepping. I don't know what anybody else's, plan of action is or anything to speak of. Um, but I just have to assume that most people in this chat have been doing this for more than, let's just go with 5 years. I mean, and I understand some people haven't been doing it 5 years, some people have been doing it 20 years. But I got to tell you that at a certain point, prepping food, water, shelter, clothing, means of self defense leaves one thing off the list of things you should prep and probably should be somewhere at the top of that list. And that's prepare for a future. Because if all you're doing is preparing to live in a room with rice stacked to the ceiling, boiling it, eating it so that you don't die, there's really no point in it because that's not life. That's not living. That's not being fruitful and multiplying. Excuse me, everybody. I just want to go lay my little man in the bed here. He's about done. He's all tuckered out. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. I'll be right back, everybody. Want some milk?
You want some milk?
Um, and I guess the future does kind of come into the plan as well. Plan for the future, but well, we're just think you might be onto something there, ooh man. Yeah, I don't have all the answers. I probably have more questions than answers. Um, I just hope if there's any possibility of us maybe even going back to what Uman said, refinding ourselves. Um, what I was talking about earlier, we need to start communities. They're starting communities. Bill Gates starts communities. Chucky Schumer starts communities or moves into communities that are set up to cater to their needs, desires, wants. I mean, how can we continue to say over and over again that there's nothing we can do when we have all the opportunity in the world right now? I think Will Patriot, Zombie Farmer, and please, if I don't mention you, don't hold it against me, donated to us actually having our own community. So now that's 3, 4, maybe 5 people total donated to it. There's 16 in the chat right now, 15 in the chat right now. I've been in chats with other people where there's 133 in the chat. Until we're willing to do those things and have our own communities, have our own land where we can set a school up and teach our children what we know is right, we're going to always be living in their world. They're the ones that are doing the work. They took over Detroit 50 years, 70 years ago, they did it. You know what happened to the smart people that lived in Detroit after they took it over? They fucking moved out. That's why Detroit is at about 30% of the population it was in 1950. Right now, today, 30% of the people still live in Detroit from 1950. Nobody wants to live in a shithole. And for those of us who do live in those shitholes, the only way to change it is to prove there's a better way to live, to convince your neighbor that they don't have to have garbage piled up on the street or people breaking into houses or standing on the corner selling dope or whatever until everybody that lives on that street says they're not going to take it. It's going to happen. And once those people standing on the corner selling dope or breaking into houses or stealing cars outnumber the people on that block, they own that block. And now you just live with your head down, hoping it's not your time to be robbed, beat up, shot, killed, whatever, robbed, whatever they decide to do. And I mean, it's dumbfounding to me that in 2020 with so much 2021 with so much communication, so much information, so much history at our fingertips that every video I see, every chat I'm in, we're just still like, God, can you believe what happened? What are we gonna do about it? It's not fair. I I hope I haven't pissed anybody off tonight. um, but man, it's hard. I can't hold this back anymore. Yeah, I can't wait for pizza night either, who man. It's been a long time waiting. Well, Lone Star, how bad would it have to get? I mean, I think if the National Guard was deployed and in charge of passing out food and the electric was out, the gas, water service, stuff like that was out. That would definitely be bad enough for me. I definitely would leave before that was full on. Um, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I, I just don't buy it. I don't believe that that stuff will happen. I don't see what the rich have to gain by destroying their slave population. We are their slaves. They have everything they want. They don't have to live in my crappy neighborhood. They don't have to. And it's in their best interest to keep me living here so they don't have to come down here and deal with any of this shit, work at any of these jobs. I mean, these people have their own islands, they have their own 800-acre estates with gates and turrets and whatever else they can afford on our backs. I mean, I don't know why they would ever throw all that away. They have everything they could ever want. Anything they could ever desire is available to them right now. And it's all at a cost to us. So why would you kill the goose that lays the golden egg? I mean, I don't know if you all believe, but I think they haven't done anywhere near enough to make even the most patriotic American say, you know what? I'd rather have nothing than have this. And until they do that to us, we'll get what they give us. And I'm not going to say they're a bunch of dumbasses because they've obviously proven to the world they're not as dumb as we think they are. So um, I know it's unpopular, but I don't think anything's going to change on the 20th. I don't think anything's going to change next year. I don't think anything's going to change after the year after that. I think everybody's going to be allowed to get on and vent and scream and yell and talk about how fucked up it is and how this shit's got to stop. And, as long as they can hit the switch on the wall and the light comes on and hit the spigot and the water comes out so they can water their grass, it ain't that bad. Definitely not bad enough to do anything about it except complain. So like I said, as unpopular as that is, I'm sure it is my true feeling about what we have to look forward to and what will be happening in the next, let's just say 4 years, maybe 8. I mean, 20. I don't see. I don't see how anybody smart enough to put the system into place would be stupid enough to let it all slip through their fingers. You just couldn't convince me of it. Um, and then the second thing he couldn't convince me of is that anybody in this chat making these videos is pissed off, broke, sad, hungry enough to give up the little they do have to try to make a difference. I just haven't been convinced of any of those things yet. You might be right, ooh man. Well, I've been on for 1 hour and 14. I appreciate everybody stopping by, hanging out with me. I'm gonna make sure I come on and do another live soon. I'm gonna start putting up some more videos here shortly. And everybody, stay safe. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you again soon. Have a good night.
Is that Frank? Is that Frank crying? Oh, don't cry.